What's up, Lego builders? Welcome back to Coconut Brick Studios for another week of building the Battle of Coruscant in LEGO. I feel good about this week. I'm hyped. I got my new laptop in, got everything set up and figured out, so I don't have to stress about that. I don't have to worry about that. I can dedicate a lot more time to Coruscant. I'm going to be working on the base, starting on the armory building. I'm going to be building the first of the custom AATs I need. Working on some interior design for the apartment. I got some great feedback on that in last week's update. And to cap it all off, I'm going to be starting the biggest skyscraper that's going to be in this mock. If that doesn't get you excited, I don't know what will. So don't forget to execute Order 66 on that like button. And while you're down there, if you haven't already, consider subscribing and tapping that notification bell. And all that out of the way, time for me to get started. It's time to talk about the base. I have been focusing more on the apartment area because that's where most of the problems and inspiration has been. Plus, I finished up the main shape and structure over here a while ago, so I mostly just needed to do the side builds. One thing I kept talking about was how I needed to add battle damage to the gates, basically making them look like a droid tank shot them apart. I realized the other day I have no need to do that until right before the mock is finished. The reason I've been wanting to put battle damage in now is because, like the sidewalk areas, some sections needed to be built broken, as it would be much harder to go back in later and tear up the build and add in damage. But the gates aren't really under or really connected to anything, so they can be modified or broken at any time. Plus, if I do it now, the broken pieces of the gate that would be on the ground around the entrance might get in the way or get lost. So I'm just going to save that for the end and turn my attention to smaller builds, like adding in a large fuel tank of some kind with some smaller canisters set up alongside, just to add some more detail to that section, possibly turning it into a fueling area. I don't want to put too many things over here though, because this is where the tanks are going to be parked, so I want to leave this walkway as open as possible. I'm also going to start the armory this week. The outside will look the same as the barracks, but the inside will be full of all kinds of dangerous tools of destruction. Though I'm not really sure what exactly is going to be in here. I'm thinking of some racks of blasters, a bunch of rocket launchers, and of course crates. You can't have a military building without lots of crates everywhere. If you have any other suggestions for what should go in here, let me know down below in the comments. I also have some more number decals for the side of the building, and in case you were wondering, yes, Arabic numbers do exist in the Star Wars galaxy. Let's take a look at what got finished over here on the base. So I got a bunch more of the floor tiled off. This whole parking section is done. And then over here, back behind the parking section, we have that big fuel tank I was working on. I put some little slats underneath it just to hold it up off the ground. And then next to it, I've just got some smaller containers. I don't really know what they're for. Just to add some detail, and they looked good, kind of clumped together there. I would like to add some more things along this wall over here, but I'm not sure what I'm going to do yet. So if you have any suggestions, hit me up. As for the armory, I've got most of the outer shell done. I've got the decaled numbers up. The two did not turn out so great. I might play around with the design a little bit. It just looks a little strange. And then on the inside, there isn't anything yet. I do have one rack that's going to be used for the blasters. This is going to go on this wall. And then, maybe we'll have like some rocket launchers over here, more blasters. I'm actually also thinking about not putting a door in this one because this side does have a door, but I'm thinking about having this one open and having a bunch of freshly armed clone troopers pouring out to do battle with some droids. This thing's coming together pretty smoothly. Unfortunately, this is as far as I can go right now for the building, just because I am all out of these 4x4 wedge plates and I need 4 more for the roof. Luckily, I have a Bricklink order coming in with 4 more, with a bunch more of those, so I can finish off the roof next week. But that's not all I have to show you guys. I got some more work done on the apartment. I don't really like showing you guys updates with the apartment because it's so hard for me to light it up properly and to show you what I built. So I'm sorry if this just looks really bad, but I got 2 potted plants there on the back on either side of the hall. Last week, Jawa Film suggested putting in some plants, and I thought that was a great idea. Great way to add some color and some more realism to this apartment. And then over on this wall, we have a dark blue couch with a little end table next to it. I'm pretty pleased with the end table design. I actually used a black plant piece and put it upside down to make it look like a little table with legs. And then I put this cool looking lava lamp like thing, whatever you want to call it. I feel like it adds some nice ambiance to the apartment and matches the vibe that I'm going for. Now over here on this side, I actually have a TV, so the members of the apartment can enjoy some good old Star Wars content. This is going to go right here so they can look at it while they're sitting down over there. Over here on this side, I built a little kitchen. It's got a refrigerator, a little counter, a stovetop with some lit burners, and then like a little blender slash cooking, cutting area, whatever you want to call it. I don't really know. It's not super big just because, you know, it's the future. They probably have more advanced, efficient ways of cooking things, but I figured I should throw a little one in there at least to help fill out this apartment. As far as interior design goes, I think that's going to be pretty much everything I do in here. So what I'm going to do next is put the roof on and start adding the lights. Just like these doorway lamps, I'm going to be using actual lights to help light up this apartment and showcase it better once this whole thing's covered up and this back wall is closed off. Now it's time to start the largest skyscraper that will be in the mock. The way that this one is designed is pretty simple and has a very wide base. So I decided that this one would be the easiest one to make super big. I have talked a little bit about its design already. It's the one with the windows at the top and the hollow center beneath the roof of the building. I'm going to start by putting in the pillars and making sure they are spaced the right distance apart so I can include the right number of slopes to create the curved roof. In between the pillars are going to be large panels, and the inside is just going to be left hollow. So now you can see, compared to the other skyscraper I built, this one is much easier and needs less parts. So it makes sense to make this one the biggest one. The main problem I still haven't solved is how I'm going to connect those panels to the ground and to the pillars, because they're at an angle, and I can't just use headlight bricks for the pillar connection, and I can't connect them to the ground with brick because these panels run at an angle across the studs, so there's no way to connect them. So I will need to create some kind of custom connection piece that can either hold the panels to the ground and the pillar or just the pillars. Switching gears away from building structures, I'm actually going to be starting my first custom vehicle, Mr. Idler's AAT, that was partially redesigned by Rich Boy J. I'm really excited to build this tank because I want to see how it looks in the mock and how it compares to LEGO's official version, because at one point I was thinking about maybe just using the official LEGO version because I have 2 of those already, so I would save some money. However, they're huge and they don't look as good as the Mr. Idler design. I have 2 of the Tan Trade Federation AATs that I used in my Battle of Naboo mock, so I have a pretty good idea of the shape and size of these tanks, but I would like to see how they look with that blue recolor. That was a lot of time-lapse building. It's time to update you guys on the progress, starting with this custom AAT. I finished up the turret and got this whole thing done. There are just a couple of pieces that I didn't have in the right color, like these side panels. They're supposed to be solid dark blue, so when I get those in, I'll swap it out. But I'm very happy with this design. You can see it's a lot smaller than the official LEGO version, but the design is a lot cleaner and a lot smoother and more realistic. So I think this is going to fit the vibe of this mock much better, because this is going to be a very detailed but kind of scaled down mock a little bit. And so I think this one just would look kind of out of place in these streets because it would be so big. Plus, you can see this one scales to minifigures Much better. Moving on from the tank, it's time to talk about the largest skyscraper, most likely, that's going to be in this mock. I got the main pillars in. They're going to make up the foundation of this building. I'm still not sure how tall this building is going to be. I'm thinking maybe like up around here somewhere, but I'm not 100% sure. What I'm most excited about is actually the panels that are going to go in between these pillars. The outside of this is just going to be a bunch of light bluish gray brick and plate to contrast with the dark bluish gray pillars, but I was finally able to figure out how I'm going to connect these panels to the rest of the building. Because at first I was using this little turntable design, but it made for a very wobbly and kind of weak connection. And so I decided to use ball joints and create these little hinge looking things that actually hold the panels in place very nicely. So there's no wiggling, there's no moving, and they're connected to the pillars, not the base of the mock. The reason I'm happy I was able to find something that connected to the pillars is because if I were to connect just to the base, this panel would be so tall that eventually it would start to lean out, but I won't have this problem. And with this technique, and I can put these little hinges in as many places as I need to along these panels. So now that I have the main design fleshed out, I can just go to town, and once I get more pieces in, and get a lot of progress done on the skyscraper. This was an awesome week. So well balanced. We had work on the base, I built the first custom vehicle that I need done for this mock, and we got some work on skyscrapers up above, and work on the apartment. Well-rounded episode, something in there for everybody. But let's talk about what's going to be going on next week. It's crazy how much productivity, creativity, just all the good things stress eats up. Like, I feel like my mind was just so much more open, so much more creative this week. I just enjoyed the build series so much more, and I feel like it came across in the video. I'm really excited to see where that giant skyscraper goes. I ordered a bunch of parts in for it, so hopefully in the next update I should get a lot more of that done, and I want to have some structures around the base of it too. I still need to figure out how those are going to go in, how those are going to connect to the building as well. So good stuff next week, good stuff this week. Don't forget to let me know what you thought about this update down below in the comments, and I will catch you guys next time. But until then, happy building.